changes public opinion, psychology. So in that sense, we have this $1.5 trillion global meat industry. And then we have vegans, especially when you're just talking about ethical vegans who follow veganism as a lifestyle. We're talking about the actual rebels here. They are a minority. They don't have a ton of money. You know, vegans often have like small activist hubs that are grassroots. Like I was just at Wishbone in Toronto, which has like hand-painted art all over the wall. And they're just trying to freaking save some animals. But in contrast to that, a Joe who thinks he's a rebel is actually with the establishment here, with the lion's share of the resources and influence, selling ButcherBox in the past, etc. I almost forgot that Max has also sold ButcherBox. Is this episode a meat psyop? And they do mention Bill Gates in passing here, and I think it sort of fits into the whole thing of like, oh, billionaires are trying to take away our meat and replace everything with like plants.
This idea that a steak is delicious, but it's ultimately bad for you. We should consume less meat. Bill Gates saying it with a big pot belly.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Well, most people don't know about Bill Gates. He owns cattle farms all over the world.
Yes, that way he can control
Getting rid
everything.
of them. Bill Gates Foundation ain't selling any of the farmland that they've acquired.
Yeah, exactly, because they don't want anybody
And Bill
to take
Gates
over.
is not a vegan. Justin.
What's that?
Brandon,
No,
we have some here. We have my buddy Justin here. He believes that plants are sentient.
Well, it's not really a belief. You can test it scientifically. Again, that doesn't necessarily mean it's moral to eat animals. I'm just pointing out that it's not moral to eat plants. You know, like the idea that like, oh, these tree drops these fruits for me, and you're basically defending kidnapping. You know, take the apple for yourself, run off, do what you will with it. Totally moral.
Yeah, I mean, the only issue is I would just need to know like through what mechanism or through what force plants would be sentient, because plants don't have brains or nervous systems. So
right, which you could actually argue then in that sense that they're more advanced, because if you actually take the time to like look into plants, like it's been proven if you play a certain like positive music, they'll have a more good response. They grow towards the sun. They communicate with one another. Trees actually, when planted next to one another, do not actually they'll grow out of the way of each other and make sure they all get the sunlight. So I could actually argue that plants are more sentient than humans and animals for the reason that they don't even need those mechanisms. You know?
Well, intelligence doesn't necessarily mean you're sentient. So like we could have a smartphone, we could program a smartphone to interact with their environment and do all of those things as well.
Yeah,
that
but we're
doesn't
not
mean they're individuals.
You program plants, you're doing it?
Well, it doesn't have to be me doing it. I'm just saying that plants could be responding to their to stimuli to their environment in a very intelligent way without being an individual. Because without a brain or a nervous system where we have discovered that consciousness originates, based on what we know
who
now.
decided that the central nervous system was the deciding factor for what makes life valuable? You? With
No, I'm not.
System? Like
Yeah. If you allow me to answer your question, so
sure.
You changed the goalpost, you moved the goalpost a little bit. So we're talking about sentience, and then you said, who decided that the central nervous system makes life valuable? We're not talking about life.
I didn't move the goalpost. We're the same topic.
No, because you said life, but we're talking about sentience. So plants are living 100%, and they are intelligent 100%. There's no denying that. But to argue that they're an individual as much as a mammal, a bird, a fish, someone with a brain or nervous system, I would have to know how that sentience is being, like where that sentience is derived from.
Let me ask you, why does the mechanism of how it happens, why is that the issue? For example, if I were to come to your house for Thanksgiving dinner, would it really matter if I took a plane, a train, or a Jeffrey's bicycle?
Well, so it would. So like, for example, if I asked you, hey, how did you get to my house? And you can't answer that question, then it's very hard to have any kind of conversation. So if I ask you, hey, you're claiming plants are sentient, and I said, okay, what's the evidence? How are they sentient? Through which means are they sentient?
Well,
and you don't have an answer. Hold on. If you let me finish, Justin. And if you don't have an answer to that question, sure, see what like viewing their behavior or viewing their their reaction to their environment is interesting.
Right.
But when we know that sentience originates, as far as we know, and that could always change. I'm not saying that I know 100% for a fact, right. But as far as we know right now, all of the scientific consensus, the leading scientists, doctors, neurospecialists in this field support that most animals are sentient or very likely to be sentient and plants are not.
Okay.
Hold on. If you're claiming that you know better, or you have better evidence, I would just need to see that evidence. And if you can't provide it, then
all you have to do is just go on YouTube. There's countless videos.
Okay. All you have to do is go on YouTube. Yeah, that's not evidence. So sounds like you're kind of trolling.
Hold on. Wait a minute. My turn now. Why is something on YouTube not evidence? Be specific. Why? Because it's on YouTube?
No. So it's not.
It's like your brain isn't working at all. It's called cherry pick.
Hold on. Let me
Justin.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily that anything on YouTube isn't evidence. It's just when we have peer-reviewed science and we have scientific consensus.
You mean like the peer reviews for the vaccine? Those peer reviews?
Sure, yeah, but that doesn't mean that peer-reviewed studies are flawless, right? You could have a flawed peer-reviewed study.
Well, it means there's an agenda, and like the point is, you bringing up peer reviews is supposed to impress me in the sense that these are the people that really know things. However, I could point to countless peer reviews that's been debunked, corrupted, and all sorts. So that argument goes out the window.
No,
so
well,
why is YouTube bad? Exactly.
So you didn't let me. Yeah. You cut me off as soon as I started answering the question. So if you'd allow me to finish the whole thing. So
okay.
It's not that a YouTube video can't include evidence to support a claim, right? I'm not saying that. Obviously, we just watched a Mike the Vegan video where he provides evidence. The problem is if it's just a YouTube video of some random person talking and they don't provide any studies. I'm not saying that every peer-reviewed study is going to be flawless, right? But you would have to be able to point out the flaws in that peer-reviewed study. And furthermore, you would have to prove that your conspiracy theory that every leading, the tens of specialists in this field signing off on the New York Declaration of Consciousness or the Cambridge Declaration of Consciousness that support animal sentience, you would have to either provide equal evidence to support plant sentience.
I can do that.
Or you would have to prove that those scientists are all in a conspiring against
not a
some kind of
problem.
agenda.
Not a problem. I can totally do that. So first off, you pointing out all the science, scientists would have to be in on it. Well, I'll just reference the jab vaccine COVID thing again. And if you don't like that, look into the Manhattan Project where 30,000 people were involved. Not one of them spoke. Now, back to the point about YouTube.
Just really quick, just to address the first point you made. So, and again, I'm not too familiar with the COVID stuff, but I'm just going to grant that what you're saying is correct. Just because there is a conspiracy in one area doesn't actually prove that this is also a conspiracy. You would have to show evidence.
Right. But you're also you're using these people as if they're the authority, people with peer reviews. So I just debunked that by pointing out all these peer reviews that aren't accurate. So the point is that argument of peer reviews goes out the window now because we don't know who to trust. It would take a really long time. Then you brought up the fact that these random people making videos on YouTube. Well, how do you know they're random? Just because they're not on your side of the argument? There's, countless studies of actual scientists with no agenda whatsoever. They're not trying to push a carnivore diet or anything like that. Just doing science, proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that plants are in fact sentient. Hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish now. There's literally pages upon pages of these videos. Now, there are a few videos of people saying that, they're not. However, they're all plant-based people with an agenda, as opposed to the scientists I'm bringing up they're not trying to sell you on a specific diet. So go ahead.
Hold on. So when you said that there are researchers, right, doing their own research and proving that plants are sentient, you said there are studies that support this. Can you send me any of those studies? Can you link them? Because I would be interested. If you actually have good evidence, I'm open to review.
You don't even need me to do it.
You just for them just yesterday.
He couldn't come up with any.
No. So really quick, Justin, and this is I want to move on from this topic because clearly you sound kind of trolling, but just
how am I trolling?
I'll explain. I'll explain. Because whenever I ask somebody who's so confident that they're right, I ask them, okay, can you show me, can you provide me the specific studies that you are getting your claims from, right? Because if you're going to make a claim, I'm assuming you didn't do the research yourself. You didn't come up with it yourself. You're getting it from something, right? You're getting it from the source. So if I ask you, hey, can you show me the source you're getting your claim from? And you say, you don't need me, Google it yourself. Yeah, that's not evidence. Hold on. Your response just now was, you don't need me, you can YouTube it yourself. I'm
Right.
not. If you are making a claim, send me the specific study.
Sure, I don't know who you are though. That's the thing. Like I don't
Logical
know your name or
consistency.
anything.
That's my YouTube channel. That's my Instagram.
Oh, okay.
You can
Well,
DM it to me.
send
You
you-
can
Put
email
it
me,
in
whatever you
the
want.
put it in
But
the
I'm-
private chat, Justin. We can all watch it. We can all
Justin.
look at it right now.
Let's look at it
Sure.
right now.
Just
Show your face too,
yesterday.
pussy.
For some reason, my camera's not working.
Let's see it,
Camera's not
Justin.
working on
Just
your
yesterday,
Yeah,
phone.
for
Chris,
some
Your phone's
reason his
almost
camera's
dead,
not
right?
working.
No, I'm serious.
Just-
No, I'll tell you what it says. It says your browser has lost connection to your camera. Make sure no other apps are using your camera mic. Then refresh page. Restart your device if this continues.
Do you have OBS on?
I'm not sure what that is.
You just need to hop out and hop back in, and it should work.
I just did that
Justin.
before. That's why I jumped out. But it's just not
Yeah.
working. I mean,
Justin
you guys
doesn't know.
all know.
Justin's a
I'm
Luddite. He doesn't know how to do anything technological except use his
that's
phone.
fine. I don't either. But Justin, Christian was trying to get you to share this study for the last week, and you keep claiming
Christian?
plants
Who are you
feel
talking
pain,
about?
but you can't find a study to corroborate it. Just
Wait,
YouTube
who's
videos.
Who's Christian? What are you talking about?
Christian, the plant-based crackhead. Christian.
I don't know who you're talking about.
You know who Christian is?
I do.
Of course, you know who fucking Christian is. It's like your brain don't
Jesus
work
Christ,
at all.
Justin.
No, which guy? Who's Christian? I'm being serious. Who? I know Braxton.
John Bob's sidekick, bro.
Christian.
Who's that?
He's a cyclist. He's always screwing
All right,
with you.
Justin,
Oh, you mean the guy
Put
that's
down
kind
the
of
crack
funny that's
pipe,
on here?
Justin.
Anyway.
You mean the guy that's kind of funny?
Anyways,
Oh, I think I know who you mean now. Okay. What about him?
The guy that outsmarts you on a daily basis, that guy?
Oh, yeah, because you guys are just spinning circles around me. Yeah, okay, sure.
But we don't have breasts, bro. So obviously we
You
know
also
more
don't have
about
the women I
diet
have
than you.
either. So there is.
I don't care about the woman you have. I have a beautiful wife. And I saw the woman you're with last week. She was
Let's have a
obese,
contest.
and your flex was, oh, everybody wanted her in high school, but she's obese, let herself go, and you think
she's
it's
built with
flex
Kim
that you're with her.
And again, I'm
Dude.
not trying to dish your wife, dude. I'm not real. I don't like to make fun of girls and shit, so I'm not gonna sit here and be like, my girls are hotter than your wife. You're the one that keeps making ad hominems,
No
claiming
problem.
I'm fat and I'm out of shape and stuff. And I don't know what else to tell you. Like, you're the one being vicious. I never say anything mean towards you. I just debunk.
I'm being honest. You think obese
in your mind, but that's not. You're not
How
being
are you
honest.
going to promote a diet when it makes
Just
you
how
obese?
hold on. Let's change the topic for a
Cancer
second.
and diabetes.
So what I brought up before.
all right,
about how-
Justin.
yeah. What's up?
Unless you got something else.
Well, yeah, I was just about to bring up the whole Jew cop thing. Can we talk about that?
What?
No.
No.
Can I start? Can I start?
Yeah, go for it.
Because the Jews were the ones that killed Jesus. He was hung on the cross by the Jews, man, because he was interfering with Jewish sacrifice rituals. Therefore, if you have a problem with Jews, when you worship the Jews and you worship Satan, the Christian religion, who the fuck are you, man? That's all I got.
Well, I'm not religious in general, whatever. I'm not an atheist.
And yet
either.
you worship
just
the
making the point
Jews
that
and Satan,
it's
a
not
Christian religion.
It's not the Jews doing it. It's actually conservative Christian cops that are enacting what the Jews tell them to do. So the point
And
is,
yet they're
All right,
performing
Justin, we'll
billions
talk
of
to you later, man.
sacrifices
Oh
today.
my God.
what?
Billions of sacrifices, and you're supporting it, Justin.
I'm not
You're
supporting
not
anything.
supporting them at
I mean,
all.
listen, if you want to go back to the vegan talk, we can do that. But like, let's not pretend that it's this one group of people. It's mostly Christian cops enacting the evil that they're like, it's the Jews,
Cops
and it's
are
actually them doing
enacting
it
evil?
themselves. I'm sorry.
You said cops are enacting evil?
The point that I'm trying to make is that a lot of people in the
What
community.
is the point you're trying to make, Justin?
No, I'm trying to make the point that a lot of people are saying it's the Jews. It's the
The
Jews.
point you came to make was that plants were sentient, and you haven't
And
been
you
able to
failed
prove that
at
to
that.
us by
Well, you wanna
supporting
go, well, actually,
sending your
okay. So
citation.
I brought up the countless pages upon pages of studies that your
No,
buddy here
Justin,
tried
a
to man,
You didn't
citation,
bring up
a
a
link,
single
a
page.
link for
You
us to
brought up
look at.
YouTube videos.
I don't know how to do it from my
Give us a
phone. I'll send it
study.
to you later. Don't act like you know that I won't. You know I will. You know I
No,
will.
you're gonna send a YouTube video, not an actual
Well,
study.
why YouTube video bad? Are you guys saying that your podcast doesn't count for anything because it's on YouTube? Is that what you're saying, John? There's no
you
value
can't
in this
just
'cause
say
it's on
YouTube as your citation. You can't just say go find it in YouTube.
I said
You have to
just
prove
type
your
in and you'll
claim,
find
Justin.
pages of videos about this. Pages, literally. Pages.
There are billions
All
of
right,
people.
dude.
I could
We're
make
talking
any
later.
YouTube video saying anything I wanted. It doesn't
Correct.
prove anything.
So why do peer-reviewed studies mean something when we've already been proven anybody can do that, and a lot of them have been proven to be false? So why does that count?
It doesn't. Results matter. Results matter. And you're obese. The girls you date are obese, and you claim we're wrong when we are getting results and you're not.
Why are
We're
you so
literally
strong, though? Like,
athletes.
where's all your vegan
And
energy?
you are-
You're like kind of the poster boy for like what veganism will do to somebody's
All right.
body. Like Jeff looks mostly normal. You know what I mean? Like that Juice Justine girl, like she looks great. What's your problem?
Dude, because I had worms for years, man. Worms. From eating
what?
corpses. From
So how
eating
come
dead
I don't have
animals,
worms?
man.
Why don't I have worms? Dune has worms. Why don't I have
I
worms?
bet you do. I
You
bet
bet I
you
do?
do.
You do, Justin.
How do you know?
You're obese.
Oh,
Oh, by
you
the
feed
way,
them.
yeah, Brandon, this guy's pushing 400 pounds.
I'm like 250, and I'm a bodybuilder. I've just been hurt for a while, so they're like,
You're a
bodybuilder,
bodybuilder?
right?
I was.
My only
Dude.
Justin.
Why aren't you jacked with all that energy you get from being vegan? Like you're the skinniest guy I know. Like what?
Not
Bob is Jack.
everybody
He's
is
a
obese.
perfect male specimen. Peak
What's
male
Not
that?
everybody's
specimen at
obese,
that.
Justin.
Justin,
Not
can I ask you a quick
everybody's
question?
obese.
All right,
Can I
all
ask you a
right.
quick question?
Justin,
Yeah, go for it. Sure.
Justin.
Oh, sorry, we kicking him out? Sorry, go ahead.
No, shoot.
Okay, my quick question. So, Justin, I'm assuming just based on how you're conversating that you're not vegan, correct?
I was for about a year and a half.
He's a liar.
Well,
So, let's just say-
can I finish?
Definitely a liar.
So I did veganism or close to it. Again, they keep changing the definition of it on me every other week. But basically, yes, I didn't eat any animal products for about a year and a half, maybe a little bit more. And again, what I was told about going vegan, it was basically the opposite of what I was told. I was on plant proteins and all that type of stuff, and I just got weak and hurt myself and this and that. To be honest, I'm not here trying to sell anybody that they should eat animal products. I just go after like John Bob because he likes to make up whatever he wants to be true. I just go after what I see as dishonest. I'm not trying to sell anybody to be on animal products or whatever.
Well, so the reason why I'm asking is just because, like, if you are so convinced that plants are sentient, I'm just confused as to why you wouldn't be vegan. So if plants, so like plants being sentient doesn't necessarily, like, isn't a debunk to like animals being
Vegan-
like
Well,
saying
I
that
told you I
animals
wasn't
should be
trying to debunk it,
exploited
though.
or should be.
I'm not trying
So
to
go
say
ahead.
it's moral to eat animal products because killing plants is wrong. I'm just pointing that out because, you know, John likes to run around like, I don't do any harm. Meanwhile, if you hold a mechanism up to the plant, you can hear it making noise to say that it's in pain. It's just one more step.
Sure,
Oh, yeah,
so
because they scream. They
Yeah,
have
well, they don't have any
vocal
vocal
The
cords, but-
agricultural process kills a lot of wildlife as well.
that's true. But
yeah,
the
but
thing,
not nearly as much as the animal agriculture industry.
You
but
don't
I'm
think-
Dude,
with
even,
you
even
on
if
that, too.
Justin's
I'm with
Not
you
right,
on
even
that.
We need to
I'm
grow
just-
plants to feed all of them. Most of plant agriculture, you know, all the corn and soy, there's tons of stuff that goes all to animal feed.
I'm with
And
you. yeah.
animals eat billions and billions of calories to make millions of calories. So we get a massive deficit in calorie loss when we're feeding animals inefficiently. You know, just losing tons of calories to feed
Humans
these.
inefficiently.
Yeah, feeding
Yeah.
humans inefficiently.
I'm just confused
So-
if you want to be a good person, right? If you consider yourself like a,
Me?
a good person,
Well,
someone
well,
who
let's-
values.
Well,
Hold on,
I've never stolen anything in my life. I've never cheated on a woman.
Hold on, can you let me finish? Yeah, I'm not talking about that. So if you consider yourself a good person, if everything is sentient, right? So if everything is an everyone, right? So if a piece
Yeah.
of broccoli is a someone, and a pig is a someone, and a human is a someone, I'm just confused why you wouldn't go off after the least likely or the lowest level of organism, right?
Because
I understand.
I'll explain. I don't actually believe that to be true. There was a doctor who I think is crazy personally. He only eats red meat, which is insane to me. But he actually, after doing it for a year, only killed 2 cows and basically ate 1 cow a year if you only ate red meat. So what I would point out to you is that every salad you have has multiple dead life forms in it. Are you suggesting that I can't have 1 cow a year as opposed to all the death that goes into per salad? I mean,
No, but
Justin,
what I'm
you're the
saying,
size of a cow. You'd eat more than 1 cow a year. Give me a break.
maybe I would. I don't know.
What
You're
I'm not saying.
disingenuous, Justin. It takes 120 pounds to feed that cow per fucking day. That's hundreds of plants that are dying a day, but you claim it's 2 lives.
Well, I'm not defending that you shouldn't eat plants either. I'm just pointing that out. I admit I don't know what
Vegans eat
to
the
do.
least amount of plants, so
it
your
out?
argument is out the window. Your argument is out the window because vegans eat the least amount of plants.
Why would you even want to
For
not?
years, you've been arguing a vegan argument against veganism,
Uh-huh.
and we've all laughed at you for years about it.
That's fine.
I've had this same conversation Brandon's having with you several times. We've all been laughing at you because you just keep continuing it as if it's some sort of argument in your favor.
Well, I just want to know with all the governments now, like what's his name, Brandon, right? Did you know that the government is now engineering allergies?
Why are you changing the subject, Justin?
It's the same subject.
Of course
Allergic to animal products.
Because we destroyed him on one subject. Now he's going to fucking change the subject.
I'm
and
still
move on
talking
to
about
something else.
veganism. It's still veganism. I was just pointing out more evidence that it actually isn't
You
so
don't
great
talk
for you, and
about
it's a government
You
thing.
hey, you don't talk about veganism. You just justify your Jewish violence cartels. You got blood on your hands.
I'm not religious.
So, what is the goal of veganism? Is it to do the least killing,
You got blood on
or
your
what?
hands, dude.
I just washed my hands.
You're practicing
Justin.
ritual sacrifices, dude.
Justin,
You're just
claim you're
using
not
sensational
involved.
words to get your point across. That's all
Justin,
you're doing. You're
shut up.
sensational. Yes.
Justin, shut up.
What's up?
Let this man ask a question.
You go for it.
What is the point of veganism? Is it to do the least amount of killing? Because life feeds on life, so that seems sort of no. I see a no up there in the corner.
Are you asking
not
me?
Exactly.
I'm asking
Go ahead,
anybody on the
Brandon.
panel.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
think
want
it's an obsession, personally.
Justin, shut your pie hole.
I was basically asking
Is
everybody
that
but you.
vegan pie?
Yeah, I don't want to take up all the time, so if somebody else wants.
No,
to
go ahead, bro. I'm chilling today.
Essentially, we're against the exploitation, or I guess like slavery of other animals, right? Particularly sentient animals. So, and again, every vegan's going to differ slightly, maybe in their own beliefs. But for me, I value sentience. So that's the ability, that's being an individual, having a consciousness, having will to live, feeling joy, feeling pain, stuff like that. So essentially, we're against the enslavement and exploitation of animals.
Me too.
So hunting.
That would be exploitation. So
Okay, so what about carnivores? Like carnivorous animals, is that an issue?
that's a good question. So that's not really a vegan issue. So when we're talking about is predation bad, or is predation's like a lion eating a zebra? Yeah, I mean, I think it's really messed up, and I wish there was something we could do about it. But that's not really a vegan issue. Veganism mostly pertains to humans and how we treat other individuals. In the case of veganism, it would be other non-human animals.
Like I said, I was just pointing out that it's the idea that plants don't feel anything is just a lie. That was my whole point.
It seems like a moot point, though, right? Because life feeds on life throughout all of life. You can't stop consuming life without killing life.
So when the powder dusty, if you don't mind me asking. So you say life feeds on life. Are you familiar with the difference between sentience and just a living organism?
Consciousness, basically.
Yeah, basically, right? Like being an individual. So
something that feels pain.
Yeah, essentially, but we more than that. It's experiencing life as a subject, right?
Mm-hmm.
So bacteria, right, is living, but they're not sentient, right? There's no brain, there's no nervous system. They don't feel any pain. They don't, they are trying to survive because they're a living organism, just like every cell in our body, but they're not sentient. So yes, life feeds on life, but we have the choice to feed on non-sentient life
Can I ask
life
something?
that isn't aware that they're existing, and life that has a heart, has a brain, has a central nervous system, actually has a will to live. So we choose the life that is, and veganism is just diet, right? It's wearing skin, it's going to zoos, it's rejecting all those things, all the things that force animals into like doing things they don't want to do.
Hey, brother, I
What do you
think
think,
that's
Patty?
awesome that you refer to it as skin and don't use euphemisms. We've been so brainwashed to phrase things as things they're not. Just saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, I actually just posted something on my Instagram. It was, I think PETA too posted it, but it was like a picture of leather and then a picture of like a fingerprint, and it's like identical. Like it is skin. Like leather is probably the most obvious to be somebody's skin, or like to be, because like meat, when you see animal flesh in like a package, you wouldn't, unless somebody told you, you wouldn't necessarily know that was inside of an animal or belonged to an animal. But leather is pretty obvious. Like if you look at it, it looks like skin. So
No, carnists get really mad when we use like milk, for like rice milk and stuff. But everything that they eat has been taken from animal to burger or sausage or called something else.
yeah, 100%.
to mask what it actually is, so they don't have to face the reality that every time they eat, they're eating 1 to 3 animals.
Chicken.
Just selfishly.
It seems that that veganism just reallocates the suffering from an animal to a human.
Huh?
How so?
Are you saying
Because humans are omnivorous, right?
No.
And
Well, that's an opinion.
no, it's
That's
not. It's
definitely
well
not
established.
true.
You can look at
Well-
every human society all throughout history has eaten
All of
meat. We got forward-facing eyes.
Yeah,
canine
we
teeth.
we can, but it's not our ideal. We're
Well,
able
actually,
to. We're
I'd like
able
to
to
make a
eat meat
point.
in emergency situations, but
I'd like to make
clearly,
a point.
survival situations. But clearly, it's not our
That's-
ideal
that's
diet,
the
because you got
opinion.
people like Justin Padini here who eats meat and dairy every day, who's 400 pounds.
As do
I
I.
actually
Wait a
don't eat
minute.
dairy.
Wait a
I
minute.
don't eat dairy. But
How
what's
the
it called?
fuck is
What
that
about
an
the
opinion?
creator gods?
We're
Like that whole argument I
frugivores,
made the
dude.
video about?
Do you know what a frugivore is?
Yes. Someone
Okay,
just eats
so we
fruit,
have
right?
flat teeth. We have the exact same digestive system, and
As
quite
what?
frankly, lions don't need ovens. So how the fuck are we omnivores when we have a
We
jaw
don't
that moves
either,
like a
but we
Well, so-
prefer to cook food so we don't get parasites. They all have parasites.
just hold on one second. I just
Oh,
have
so we'll get sick from eating dead animals.
Well, we'll
People
get
say that.
parasites.
So separate from like the frugivore argument or the biological argument. For example, the powder dust. I notice you're smoking, right?
Yes, this is how I get my vegetables.
Sure. But so smoking, you would say, is not a natural thing, right? So it's a human invention,
Correct.
right? It has, okay, all right. And you do it anyway because you want to, right? It's a choice that you make.
Correct.
Right. So when it comes to our diet, right, humans may be omnivorous in the sense that we can eat both plants and both animal products, or animal flesh or secretions, whatever you want to call them. But when in the modern day, when we have the science supporting a fully plant-based diet, that means we have the choice, right?
Who's
so we
science?
don't
We
have to. I'm sorry, what?
Go ahead. I don't mean to derail. I disagree with that point, but carry on. That's where you're going.
So that means we have the choice, right? So when we have the choice whether or not to follow a plant-based diet or whether or not to be omnivorous, right? Then it's a more ethical choice to be plant-based. So your whole point of, well, humans are omnivorous. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to deny that we can eat both animal flesh and plants. And, depending on the ratio of them, we can do fairly well nutritionally. But morally, there are reasons not to be omnivorous and to eat fully plant-based, right? So there's a lot of things that aren't like what we were doing thousands of years ago when we had to survive that we enjoy now, right? So saying that we're omnivorous by nature isn't really an argument for why we should keep enslaving and exploiting animals.
I mean,
Patty, I want to let Patty in. She's been quiet down there. What do you think, Patty?
This whole conversation has me thinking of something Rudolf Steiner wrote, and it had to do with the evolving consciousness of man. He talks about Darwin when he came across a cannibal in one of his early explorations, and he asked the cannibal, how do you know if it's right to eat another human, because cannibals eat other humans? And the cannibal said, well, I know it's right if after I eat it I like it. That's how I understand rightness, is because I like it. And so Steiner is commenting on that. That's where that cannibal's level of awareness and consciousness was. He was at a state of consciousness where something was good if he agreed with it, if he liked it. But he didn't see that, it wasn't until he was about to be killed that he could maybe appreciate, oh, maybe me killing another man is not a good thing for me to do, because I'm now about to be killed. So we're at a level
cannibals
of
didn't
consciousness.
recognize that?
We're at a level of consciousness right now where we can see the pain and suffering in animals. And some of us are just ignoring it. And so we have to kind of raise our consciousness to understand that there are other beings that want to live, and we don't have the right to take their life, right? And we also have, as logical consistency has mentioned, we have plenty of evidence that a plant-based diet is not only healthy, but it's actually allowing humans to thrive physiologically. I mean, there's so much benefit to not consuming animal protein. Animal protein is
you can live off animal protein alone.
You can also get cancer off of animal protein.
You can't live off just vegetables and fruit.
Yes. I've been living this way for 15 years.
Can, bro. What are you talking about? Look at John Bob, the guy right next to you, raw vegan.
You don't take any supplements. No, the super processed vegan food in the grocery store. None of that.
Are you asking me?
Oh, I was asking more John Bob. I don't know if whoever it applies to. I guess.
No, John Bob doesn't eat anything processed.
I don't know, because
I make cashews from scratch and turn them into a dip.
So your answer is no. You just eat vegetables, you just eat straight plants. Not
plants, nuts, seeds.
Hold on, what's I'm just curious. Why does the processing matter? Because you could make fake meat out of plants. So for example, Beyond Meat, if you look at the ingredients, it's lentil protein, it's wheat, it's whatever, it's usually
like bread.
Plant ingredients.
The processing implies that it's a supplement, right? And I don't know for sure if it is or not.
No.
But...
So no. So I think there's just maybe if you check my website, I have pages upon pages. I have all the links to great peer-reviewed studies that I've accumulated over the past 2 years doing activism. Processing is not the same as supplementation, right?
Okay.
So
I'm looking for supplementation primarily, not processing.
Yeah. Okay. So that's fine. So I just so just because somebody eats a fake, like a mock meat, for example, that doesn't mean it's supplemented. It could just be plants
I get that.
blended up.
I get that. It was just a wrong choice of words.
Now, to go on the supplementation, why is supplementation a bad thing? Because essentially what supplementation does is it allows us to rely on getting all of the vitamins and nutrients we need in a more reliable way, instead of having to hunt for it or to find it in nature. Because
you're choosing an unnatural lifestyle.
But do you think that something being natural automatically means it's moral?
Well, let's bring up the supplementation. No. Let's go there.
Hold on, John Bob.
Hold
on, John Bob.
I'll be quick. Okay.
So if you recognize that just because something is natural doesn't mean it's moral, then you saying that supplements are unnatural isn't really an argument against using them.
No, I'm saying that the vegan lifestyle is unnatural. If humans were meant to be vegan, first of all, we would be biologically different, but we would only be living on a very fine strip of real estate.
So when you say humans are meant to do something, what do you mean by that? Because we're on a podcast right now. So
we are biologically designed to be omnivorous.
Hold on.
All evidence.
Hold on. Because when you say that humans are meant to do something, do you mean by like a creator? Do you mean biologically?
I'm agnostic. I don't know how we got here. All I know is that you can look at the evidence and see that we are an omnivorous species. We both plants and animals.
Okay, so then
I got a question for you real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think holds up the entire supplement industry vegans?
I have no idea.
It's not vegans.
You think
Supplements were
it's
here far
vegans?
before vegans.
I have no issue with supplements. I'm okay with
well,
them.
well, most people who supplement are meat and dairy eaters, and they
Most
need
people
those
are-
supplements.
Most people are
The
meat
majority
and
of
dairy
the
eaters.
industry
Wait.
is held up by meat and dairy eaters, not vegans. And we
Right.
don't
That's-
supplement actually.
That's the bulk of
I
the
occasionally
population.
like taking some creatine, but our diet, we get everything we need in our diet. So, you know,
Hold
I
on,
don't know what
but
to say.
If you say you have no issues with supplements, then what's the point of your argument?
Where I'm going with it is that the vegan lifestyle is not natural.
Okay.
And
Okay.
which isn't necessarily bad, but you're behaving in a
Oh.
way that is
So you're
that
not
is-
assigning a good or bad value to it. You're just saying that
I'm
it's
saying
unnatural?
that this is an inconvenient lifestyle. You're
Okay,
giving
hold on,
people are
hold on,
giving up
okay, hold
something.
on.
No,
Hold
let
on,
me
hold
let
on.
me finish a motherfucking question before you
Sorry,
keep
sorry,
holding
go ahead.
on me.
Sorry, go ahead.
This is not a lifestyle that people choose because it's fun, because it's preferable, because it's easy. You're asking people to inconvenience themselves for a reason, right? And so that reason I take to be a moral one.
Correct.
Wait a minute. What do you mean inconvenience? I mean, I have
It's
10
not an
times the
inconvenience
food I
to
had
us, though.
before.
You're assuming our position on it.
It's
It
not
may
let's
be an
just-
inconvenience for you because you would have to change your life.
Of course it's
be
an
able to do
inconvenience
what
because
we're
it
doing,
reduces
but
the
I don't
number.
see
Like,
it as an inconvenience.
how many restaurants can you go to? And what percentage would you say?
How is a restaurant
doesn't
convenient?
matter. This
You
isn't
think
an
people
argument.
want to have
Yeah, sure it
breasts?
is. Because
Eat
as-
meat
if-
because
as
it's
somebody who-
easy.
somebody
Kill
who eats
animals
meat-
and eat meat because it's easy. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
your
'cause I-
position is.
plants
Well, I'm
and
here.
meat can go. I can eat at any restaurant around me. You could probably eat at one or two of them, right? So that's
Take
an
your shirt off,
inconvenience.
dude. Take your
Take
shirt
my-
off. Let's
I don't
see if
eat
you
at
have tits.
restaurants.
Take my shirt off. No, I'm not going to
Yeah,
take my shirt off.
let's
You
see
fucking
if you have
weirdo.
breasts, dude. Let's see
Do I
how
look like I
feminine
have
you
breasts?
actually
Do I
are.
look out of shape?
You look overweight.
Take your shirt
Let's
off.
see them, dude. Let's see those
Okay.
man titties.
I'm- You
All
take
right.
your shirt off. Let's see
Let's
your
calm
scrawny,
down,
withering
ladies.
bones.
I
I'm
gotta
gonna give the
take a
mic
shirt
back to Patty. She didn't get her whole thing out.
I can't believe this dude's taking his shirt off.
I was
There you
just
go, dude.
commenting
You
on
look
the.
like
He's
a-
shredded. I mean, you gotta say
Tits?
he's shredded.
Yeah, he's pretty skinny.
Pretty skinny.
No, it's called
But I
lean.
don't
It's
have
actually
breasts.
like
And you seem like you're
the
hangry.
ideal human form is being lean.
You seem like your brain and
We're
emotional
supposed to be
state
lean
is
and
withering
solid,
away.
Beta. You have fucking
Okay, well,
breasts.
you're ad hominem now.
Who's
so
ad hominem?
What's going on?
This dude
Things are
told me to take off my
degrading.
shirt so he could see my titties.
You
He's an
have
angry-
female
He has a
breasts,
point,
man.
no?
You consume estrogen.
You're angry because you're hangry, bro. Go eat a burger.
No, John
I'm
Bob is the
angry
peak
because
male
you're a beta
specimen. He has
male.
so much testosterone from his vegan diet that
Would you
he's
fuck him?
he's a beast. You gotta be careful
Would you
around
fuck
John
him?
Bob. Anyway, so back
You
to Patty.
couldn't
Sorry,
fuck me
Patty.
because you can't get it
Bob,
up
John Bob,
because
calm
you have
down.
Not for
erectile
you, I
dysfunction.
can't. You're right.
You
I
have
could not get it
erectile
up for you.
dysfunction.
I
How's-
could not get it up
All
for
right,
you.
both you guys. Calm down. Go ahead, Patty.
Fucking beta.
Sure.
So yeah, Rudolf Steiner, flow state. Are you familiar with Rudolf Steiner?
I am. I like him.
Yeah, so he talks quite a bit about morality and consciousness and where humans belong in our level of consciousness. And this kind of relates to Justin Pedini's statement about sentient, like where plants fit. So, there's a fourfold human life or a fourfold body in humanity, I should say. There's the physical level, the etheric level, the astral level, and then there's what makes us human, the ego/I level. And our I am level is our ability to recognize right versus wrong and to be able to take that in as what we can make choices from. Animals, they live because they can't make those conscious choices. Like my dogs they go out and they see a rabbit, and they've killed rabbits in my backyard, and it's terrible for me to see because I hate seeing animal lives being lost, but they don't have a choice. They just do it, you know? And I think most of the humans that are on this planet are kind of living in between these two worlds, where we're going based on what we think is right, based on, you know, propaganda, you know, the news, all of the advertisements telling us that we should be eating animal products and that it's needed for us to stay alive, when in reality it's not. You know, I haven't touched animal food in 15 years, almost over 15 years, and I'm fine. And I do take B12 every now and then, but I don't take it every single day, not even every single month. And whether or not I supplement on it, I don't think makes a big difference, because honestly, I think our gut bacteria can produce it. And because we wash our produce religiously, we don't get the bacteria that would have produced that for us anyway. So I do think that the human natural diet is one that is vegan, one that is not harming others, not harming any sentient being. And Rudolf Steiner, even though he never claimed to be a vegan or vegetarian, I don't know his dietary choices. He would never push that on to anybody, by the way. He did
veganism?
Correct. Yeah, he never pushed veganism. Well, he did, that wasn't like something they talked about back in the early 1900s either. You know, it wasn't like a topic of interest. But if you look at Pythagoras and many, you know, I'm trying to think others. There are so many
Ancient
vegans.
Hindus,
though,
ancient Chinese, Tibetans,
Yeah.
like lots.
Well,
Thousands
the
of years
destruction
of
of
history,
animals.
people have been vegan, but everyone wants to say it just came up recently.
It hasn't. No.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Many
not
many
true.
of the great thinkers since time immemorial had decided not to eat animal
Isn't
flesh.
your brain mostly cholesterol?
You know, there is, I mean,
Own
our
cholesterol.
liver can actually produce cholesterol from other molecules. So our liver is this amazing chemical factory where we can take in glucose and convert it into lipid. We can also convert lipid into carbohydrate. So just by having a liver, we can create every single macromolecule that we need as a building block to build every organ, tissue, everything in our body. So we don't need to take in, you know, fat to produce fat. If we're deficient in something, we can make up for it.
If everybody went vegan, you'd ultimately
Here
you're
they
still
all
going to have to
come,
kill
dude.
animals. You're still going to have
It's
to
just
kill
gonna go
animals,
through
right?
every single one of them.
Excuse me.
We're already growing enough food to feed everyone, bro.
Okay, I'm
But
not
we
talking
feed
about
most of it to cows.
If everybody went vegan, you would have too many prey animals, correct? No, you'd think that there'd be no impact on.
Yeah.
We're a pretty
So
big part
just
of
to
nature.
clarify, 99% of the animal products that are on the market are factory farmed. Factory farmed, they are bred into existence. So we're not taking prey animals out of the wild or predator, whatever claim you think. We're breeding these animals into existence. So all that would happen is if everyone went vegan is we would stop breeding
We'd end
those
an
animals.
industry.
It wouldn't affect the natural world in any way, other than the fact that we would actually be growing less plants, which would then displace less ecosystems. That's it. So it would only affect the natural world in a positive way. It wouldn't affect anything else.
What do you guys root your moral position in, I suppose? Like, how are you? Because I think that no matter, like I said, I'm agnostic. And if I look around at nature, obviously life feeds on life. It almost seems contrary to nature, or anti, if you believe in God, against God to say that this is wrong. Good, the angry guy's back.
Who wants to take this?
What's the question?
You're asking what we base our moral choices.
Yeah, how are you
on?
coming to this moral conclusion that it's the morally better position to not?
Well, because you're stealing someone's life. I mean, when you
shall
kill
not
an
steal.
animal, you're stealing a sentient being's desire to do what they wish with their life, and that's stealing. And stealing is wrong.
Nevertheless, God made everything on earth so that life steals other life to perpetuate its own.
God created
let John
all
Bob do
these
this
different
one. He's the
animals,
resident Christian.
and they have a species-specific diet, okay?
Mhm.
Now, our closest living relatives are the frugivores. All
Mhm.
these other animals, deer, for example, they'll eat fucking grass, they'll eat off the ground. They're foragers, okay? Now,
Mhm.
every animal has a species specific diet. We are taught that we're supposed to eat fucking everything. Chemically reacted corpses of animals that die in fear. But you think we're morally wrong for causing fear and suffering
No,
when it's not
no,
necessary.
you think you're
None of
morally
the other
superior
animals
for eating pureed nuts.
And yet you're the guy that's afraid to take his shirt off because you're too ashamed of your appearance. But
It's
you're
just
gonna
too
mock
gay.
my
I'm just
diet?
not doing it. I just
Come
don't.
No,
I
on.
you're
don't. I
just a
don't start
pussy.
disrobing for every weirdo I meet on the internet. If
You're
I
just
did
a
that, I'd never
pussy.
be dressed.
You're ashamed of your appearance because you're a beta
Okay,
fucking
let me
male.
answer the question. Right. So yes, it is a higher moral position to not unnecessarily kill sentient beings for food. Yes, it is a higher moral position.
So, do you think it was immoral of God to make nature in a way that necessitates life die for consumption?
The Essene Gospel of Peace phrases it rather plainly, stating that we're supposed to eat a plant-based diet. So that's
Well,
literally
the
God's
Garden of
word.
Eden being vegan too.
That's a big assumption.
You know, there's a
That's a
lot in
fact. It's
there's
written
a
in the
lot in
Bible.
them.
How the fuck are you gonna argue the Bible and ignore the Garden of Eden, dude?
Just because
Big
it's a garden
assumption.
doesn't mean that they only ate that they were vegan.
It was a fruit
Well,
jungle.
No,
It
the Garden
literally
of
says
Eden
in the
actually
book.
was. Yeah, the Garden of Eden was actually vegan, so there were no animals
Of course
eating
it
animals.
was.
It's in the Bible.
Well, there was a serpent there.
in the text,
Presumably,
though.
they
Go
weren't
look at
vegan
it.
serpents as well, were they?
No. So, animal flesh consumption or animal consumption only happened after sin was introduced. So, before sin, the Garden of Eden was the world was vegan. So the idea is that God's perfect world, right, world without sin, would be vegan. So that's where the argument comes from. But you mentioned you're agnostic. So are you Christian or are you not? Are you just using Christianity to justify your choices? Or?
I'm just using it. I'm just using it to justify. I'm trying to rummage around and figure out what even the position would be that you're coming from to make the moral superiority claim.
So I could explain where because I think I'm coming from a slightly different place because I'm full atheist and I'm a moral subjectivist. So I think morals are subjective. So let me ask you this. So are you against I don't know. Are you against the slaughter of humans?
I'm sure that I could find a way conceptually in which I would support it, but yeah, generally yes, I am.
Yeah.
Against the
So like,
slaughter of
would you
humans.
be against what we like us doing to humans? What we do to animals? Would you be against that?
Yes.
Okay. And why are you against that?
Self-interest primarily.
What do you mean?
I mean, I'm a human, and I don't want to be.
That's afraid.
Oh my God,
on, John,
Salad
hold on.
Boy, would you calm down?
So
You're
when you
afraid.
say- what do you mean
You
self-interest?
just admitted it. You're a coward.
Self-interest. Yeah. What you eating there? Is that cauliflower?
Hold on. What do you mean?
What are
by
you grazing on, John?
What do you mean by self-interest, Flow State?
Self-interest. It's just a basic moral position, right? I recognize that I'm human, and so I propose doing to others what I would want done to me, basically.
Right.
The golden rule.
So you wouldn't
Right.
want those actions to be done to you, and why wouldn't you want those actions to be done to you?
I don't know how to answer that question. I feel like it's obvious.
So you don't know why you wouldn't want your throat slit, for example. Can you explain
No, I feel like
why
that question is unnecessary because the answer is obvious.
What's the obvious answer?
Because it would suck. Because I value
would
my
suck.
life.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, because
But
you value your life, because it would feel bad, because you wouldn't want it to happen, right?
Sure.
So that's rooted in you being a sentient individual, right?
Right.
And what you have, most other animals share in common with you, right? It's a concept of it's sentience, right?
Sure.
So animals want to live, they have a will to live, they can feel joy, feel pain, etc., right?
I get that. Mhm.
So if you're sentient and you wouldn't want those actions to happen to you, and you're against that happening to other humans for that reason, and other animals are sentient, then why is it moral to do it to other species of animals, but not to humans?
Well, I don't think sentience is an on-off switch. I think that there's degrees of it, right? Most
Sure.
animals are going to be less sentient than humans. That's why we can make this
Okay.
moral decision.
But can you
No,
think
it's
of
just because you're morally inconsistent.
so
That's
can you
why.
think of some humans that have an equal or even lesser sentience, or well, first of all, just to tell you where I'm at,
I'm speciesist as well. I believe in human superiority, except for him. I think that he's inferior.
Okay, but just to hold on with the spectrum of sentience, right? Because I like to think that's from what I've seen, it makes more sense that sentience is binary, meaning that your cognitive ability or your intelligence can vary, right? So obviously we are more intelligent than maybe a rodent in most ways, right? But either you're an individual or you're not, right? So you either have a brain, central nervous system that can experience the world subjectively. So, and where I have that intuition or that suspicion is with mentally challenged individuals, right?
But are beetles sentient, right? Like there's sort of a sliding scale of sentience.
Well, again, when we're talking about
you're
sentience,
at the bottom, right?
Man, you can't. I just said that about you with the species supremacy
Shut
thing.
up, Bob.
So again,
eat your salad.
When we're talking about
and chew with your mouth closed, you slob. Good.
When we're talking about sentience, right? So when we look at somebody who's mentally challenged, so there are individuals who are so mentally challenged that they can't speak verbally and they're mutes, right? So they only communicate with their hands. They go day to day, experiencing things on a very low level. Now, in intelligence wise, right, or ability wise, they're very low on the spectrum, probably lower than your average dog. Some humans actually live that way, right? But they are still individuals.
Right, I get that.
They are still experiencing the world subjectively, no matter how low their cognitive ability is, right, or their physical ability. So when it comes to sentience in that regard,
I would eat them.
Okay, so you would eat a mentally challenged person who's a mute, who has the same cognitive ability as a dog.
Dude, he's a beta male. Look at
I wouldn't eat dogs either.
No. So I'm not asking what.
Okay, John Bob, will you? Are you an alpha male?
Try to be honest, Flow State. Don't just try and be an edgelord. Try and just give honest answers. Or else you're just wasting our time, and I'm just going to kick you off.
Let me be honest. What I was trying to do is speak up. I feel like you're conveying concepts very slowly, logical consistency.
Let me respond to your question, Beta. Hey,
I appreciate you being thorough.
My next question.
I never claimed to be an alpha, but I will tell you this: guys that.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Brandon.
No problem. So I was just going to ask, right? So when we have cases of mentally challenged individuals who are at the same level of dogs, cows, chickens, pigs, whatever else, would you be in favor? Do you think it would be morally right?
Like I said, I'm a speciesist, so I believe in humans over other things.
Okay, so it's not cognitive ability, it's not level,
Correct.
It's just the species.
Correct.
Okay, but what does that have to do? So, for example, I could value the human species more, but how does that justify me doing whatever I want to other animals, especially when we don't need to?
I wouldn't justify that. That's not my position. I think that there's some things that are just cruel for no reason but cruelty, right? You think dogfighting, whatever. And I don't think that cruelty for cruelty's sake is a good thing.
Why not? So why are you against torturing a cow, for example?
Torturing a cow because it initiates harm for the harm is the recreation, right? So if you're causing harm just to cause harm, that's a vile action.
But when we have very clear evidence that there's no need to eat animals, wear their skin, put them in zoos, then how are those actions any less recreational than just torturing a cow?
So first of all, I would say that I don't agree that there is no need. Is it possible? Sure. You guys are all evidence of that, right? Y'all live without killing any animals. It's not scalable. I don't believe you could implement that universally. And
absolutely it could.
Well, you don't think that would cause issues in third world countries where people depend on hunting? I'm not talking to you, John Bob. Keep eating.
It would be impossible to eat something that's more environmentally sustainable and doesn't require feeding 80 billion animals. It'd be impossible to do that, fucking idiot.
But for example, when it comes to scalable, that's a whole nother conversation. I'm talking about you and your moral values. For example, if we were for example,
I think it's unhealthy, and I quite
but
enjoy
what is that
eating
based
animals.
on? But
What's
hold
that based on? I haven't done a ton of research. I'll admit that it's based off just anecdotally. The vegans I meet tend to be three things. They tend to look sickly and withdrawn. They tend to be moody as fuck, John. And
You don't know any vegans, bro.
I know. I don't know any currently, but I know lots
me
of
a
people who have
break.
dabbled in it.
I have a question. What do you think's
Yeah, a
less
bunch
healthy?
of half-assed people who
And
didn't take it
and
fully
they tend to be
seriously.
self-righteous douchebags. That's why
Let's say-
everybody hates vegans.
I have a question. What do you think is less healthy? Eating a well-planned plant-based diet or smoking cigarettes? What do you think is less healthy?
Oh, I know smoking cigarettes is unhealthy.
Okay, so clearly health is not your priority, right? Clearly you clearly health is, you don't give a shit
Correct.
if vegan diets are healthy. You just like meat.
Yep.
You just like the taste of flesh. So
Well, I also if I don't eat meat, I get moody. I don't know. Some people necessitate more or less protein than others.
That's carbs, bro. You need more carbs.
But what are you?
No, if I don't eat meat, I get
Okay,
moody.
but in order, so the moodiness comes from most likely from the lower amount of calories you're eating, right? So when people just take out meat from their diet, what they're doing is they're taking out a very high source of calories. And if you don't replace those calories with enough plant-based food, you're gonna get hungry, you're gonna lose weight, you're gonna become malnourished over time. So you just saying, well, when I don't
believe that that's it though, because the only time, like I eat meat, right? The only time that ever happens is if on a weekend I wake up late and then I eat a stack of pancakes, right? Like that's not a lack of calories, but it is a lack of meat.
Hold on. So you're saying that when you wake up late and you eat a stack of pancakes,
I'm saying that I'm never at a lack of calorie. When I don't eat enough meat, it's never because I'm just not eating enough and getting enough calories. It only happens if like I eat. The only thing I've had that day is pancakes, for instance. I was just giving an example of time that happens.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's other reasons why you may feel like shit just eating a stack of pancakes for the whole day. But yeah, I mean, again, when we're talking about like nutrition, this is why it's important to look at the research, because there are people who think that praying makes their cancer go away, right? And there's no verifiable way to prove that praying takes cancer away. But we do have studies that support other methods of treating cancer. So when we have studies upon studies showing that when you have a well-planned plant-based diet, you not only are not at higher risk of nutrient deficiency, but you have better long-term health outcomes, then your anecdotal like experience could just be from your
I
own,
reject your better long-term outcomes claim.
You just said you didn't do any research.
That's correct, but I know enough about like say plant-based plant-based because I'm not trying to justify my lifestyle, right? My whole
should be.
I'm not doing a whole live stream around. I should be. Well, I'm not.
Hold on.
And in fact, I'm going to eat extra meat now, and I'm not even hungry. Katie,
do you not think
twice as many melons to teach you a lesson, you fucking beta?
Not the melons. Leave the melons out of this. What did they do to you?
Do you not think that people should have a justification for their actions, a moral justification for their actions?
Not when it comes to just eating food. No, I don't. And then yes, animals are.
Okay, what about cannibalism?
To make you angry.
Hold on.
What about yourself, heart disease? Get erectile dysfunction.
What about cannibalism? Because when you say you don't think people should have justification for when it comes to eating food, first of all, animals are exploited in many other ways besides eating food, right? I'm assuming you don't avoid leather. I'm assuming you don't.
John probably has sex with that dog beside him.
So I'm assuming you don't avoid other forms of exploitation. So that even
more
that
ad hominem.
Another conversation.
I know, but if you're going to let him ad hom me, I'm going to ad hom him right back. You can't leave John
no, you're spiraling
and then get in your
into
feelings
ad
because I'm being
hominem.
mean
You're
to
just
him.
getting mad and lashing out and trying to be edgy again. You're just wasting our time.
Me?
So what were you going to do?
Not here in good faith. Don't actually want to have this conversation.
Oh, I'm not actually going to change my mind here. I am actually curious about your positions, and I am actually here in good faith. If you remember,
did you learn anything?
This guy
started
started the hostility, and no, it's you're verifying what I already thought about vegans. Except, like I like the three of you. These two are being douches.
We're better than you.
Just really quick.
Fucking gonna be mean to you.
When you say that I am not going to change my mind here, you're kind of showing your cards, right? You're kind of showing your hand, because what you're saying is,
I literally just
regardless
told
of
you my
what
hand.
I'm told in this circumstance, regardless of what evidence is provided, regardless of what strong argumentation is provided, I'm not going to change, which tells me that you actually aren't interested in an intellectually honest
You
debate.
wouldn't really expect to be able to change somebody's mind in one sweep, would you? I've been eating meat for 37 years. If you think that that's how people change something so dramatically, then you're mistaken. You have to drip
This
on them over
shows you're
time.
incapable of learning, dude. Imagine being so stupid you can't learn and wondering
I
why
liked you
vegans
better
think
when you
they're
were eating
superior
lettuce
to you.
and nuts. I got some nuts for you, John Bob.
I bet
What's
you
it like
like
being
fucking
unlearnable,
pole
unteachable,
sausage, don't you, Beta?
incapable
You
of
like the
learning?
pole
So,
sausage?
like I said, if you want to
Right.
change somebody's entire paradigm, it's a slow drip, right? It's not like, oh my God, I'm surrounded by self-righteous douchebags. I'm going to change and be one too. That's not how that shit works. Everybody knows that.
Well, to be honest, the
We're
only
better
person
than
who
you.
kind of sounds like a self-righteous douche who thinks they don't have to justify their own actions, right? I'm here saying that I think that whatever action I choose to do should have a justification, and I should care about how that impacts others. You're the only person who's saying that you don't have to do that. So if anybody
Do
sounds
you
like a
think-
douche, hold on. If anybody sounds like a douche, it's kind of you, not to ad hom, but you're ad homing first. But the second,
no harm taken.
the second thing, right? I don't expect you to change your mind overnight, but when you are sitting here clearly stating, I haven't done the research, I'm going off of personal anecdotes, I don't know, right? And then you're saying, well, I just think this way and I'm going to eat double the meat just because. That tells me you're not really here to actually like push your own position. You're not actually here to try and better yourself. You're just here to ask questions and then kind of troll a little bit, which is fine. I mean, obviously you're welcome because you're here, but like you can't claim to be honest and be here on good faith and then kind of behave in that way. So I hope that makes sense. And I guess I think I'm done with that conversation.
Sure.
One of the things that I would just
you go ahead.
if I can, is, and there's no anger.
Right.
It's really, if you haven't tried it, then it's difficult to knock it. And if you do try it, understand one thing, there's going to be quite a detoxifying process. And that's actually a difficult one. It can be a painful one. And you're literally shedding stuff on the inside. If you tried it and it doesn't work, it's a matter of just having a discussion with some people. What maybe have I not put in to make this work? Because it's not an easy thing to do. But what I can say is the feel good factor. Like you feel good. You feel light. You feel alive. You feel energized. There's not a lack of energy. There's clarity of the mind. When the gut brain thing are working together, it's a really cool thing to experience. So I have the least expertise of the group here, I will say, and I'm one of the most recent converts, and I did try it in the past for about 9 months, and I came off because I didn't have energy. And I just thought, and I literally ran to a beef. And there's no shame in admitting that because there's trial and error. I've tried it, I failed, and I'm doing it again. It feels good.
Worms. You're forgetting the worms.
Yes.
Parasite. How long have you been a vegan for now?
This one is recently, very recently. So I feel you and I understand where it's, why should I try? And I'm seeing, and the community can appear very angry. It's sometimes I think what it is actually if you only tried it and if you only felt it, all I can say is it actually is really awesome. And there are alternatives. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm glad you did. I have a question about that. So I absolutely believe that you feel better and more clear-headed now.
Thank you.
My assumption would be that that's because when you're eating vegan, I assume you're eating less just trash food, right? You're not eating Twinkies and Snickers and all the other stuff that people who are not vegan, are the ones that consume the trash. No?
Well, of course not. But the getting the detoxifying of all the processed and all the chemicals that are not in line with your body really wants. Certainly, does it take effort? Does it take commitment? 100%. You know, you don't want to go to any place that's out there, because frankly, profit margins are their goal and not your health and not nutrition, and making you actually leave in a more fulfilled manner. They want you to feel good. There's a salt, there's a chemical structure to what is put out there, and it's designed to make you addicted to their food. So when you go through this, there is an elimination of those addictions. And all I could encourage you to say, it wouldn't be a one shop. I failed. I'm doing it again. I'm feeling amazing. I don't think that it's going to be an easy process in terms of finding the balance, but I'm turning to real live foods, grains, whatever it is. At the moment, I'm actually even just juicing. I was on a 2-week water detox, just distilled water to go into autophagy and to
2
really
weeks?
get out just distilled water. Yes.
For 2 weeks, is that what you said?
Yes. To go into a state called autophagy, which is one of the most remarkable things that you can do to your body, because it really starts to actually the person who would know the best on this one is Patty. And please enter in at any point you want, Patty. I'm not the knowledgeable expert. I'm a human being having an experience, and I'm saying that it feels really good. Try to not, before you knock it, irregardless of some of the people you're having interactions with, just know it could make you feel better.
Thank you for jumping in. I'm glad you did.
Thank you for just listening.
Mm-hmm. I think he's talking shit to me.
Vegans might have junk food, but chemically reacted corpses with saturated fats and cholesterol that cause erectile dysfunction, diabetes, cancer, and all sorts of things, that's fucking junk food. It's filled with hormones such as estrogen that cause men to be obese and grow tits. It feeds parasites and worms. And that's why most people, when they're coming off a meat-based diet, if they struggle, it's because the parasites that had all the unlimited food source of fucking corpses that were decaying inside of the body, all of a sudden those fucking food sources are gone. So the parasites that are used to eating flesh, they turn on the host.
Parasites don't eat plant foods and sugar.
If you're eating plants with parasites, they're the type of parasites that eat plants. They're not going to turn on the host unless if they're there because there's sewage and animal-based parasites, because the animal agriculture industry spreads parasites all over the place. So no, there's not parasites that are going to attack a flesh-eating animal on plants. They're there because they eat plants, and they're not a threat to us. But when you invite flesh-eating parasites into your body, and then you stop feeding yourself flesh, they will turn on the fucking host. Fucking scary shit. It causes people to struggle. It's a big deal.
How would you say that being vegan has impacted your overall state of well-being?
Well, it took a very serious fast to clear out a lot of the parasites, but I mean, overall, my energy levels are through the roof. I went from not functioning, sleeping 12 hours a day, and having issues. Nothing stops me. Nothing stops me in life. I now have my own farm. I now married. I got rid of my cane. I got rid of my glasses. My energy levels are through the roof. My mental clarity is insane. I've become a lot more dominant and aggressive. That's probably the only downside. But I don't fucking feel bad. Fucking.
What you call dominant, I call emotional.
I call you a beta.
He's just got a lot of testosterone.
And have breasts, dude.
He's just got a lot of testosterone. He's just got a lot of emotions that he can't control. You're not doing anybody any favors if you're trying to sell veganism, John Bob. You're shooting yourself in the foot.
Let me clarify something.
What am I trying to
sell?
sell?
You hate on me, dude. But guys like you, you don't end up in MMA rings. Skinny guys like
talking
me.
shit about vegans.
Skinny guy, but you're
One
a
life.
fucking beta that's a laughing stock to the average guy. Just saying.
All right.
You're the
What I
one who
will
brings up
say-
erectile
We'll talk to
dysfunction
you
3
later,
times
Flo.
so
What
far.
It was fun.
What I can say
Mhm.
is John Bob actually has a completely other side to him when this one isn't,
The
having this
gay submissive
discussion.
side.
But he's incredibly knowledgeable, and he's actually, in terms of a health standpoint, he is a beacon. I mean, it's just being able to overcome that. The guy's gone completely raw, like raw only. It's astounding. The discipline and the passion for one's health and one's vigor is that's a commitment, and it's not easy. But it
I
doesn't
agree.
mean that
It doesn't look
that it
easy.
but it
Let
doesn't
me
mean
ask
that it
you a
doesn't taste
question.
good.
No.
Would
We're
you
not
be
spending
nice?
any more time with
One
this
thing,
guy.
if I can just say something in terms of what can happen in a short period of time, and this is all it is. I've spent a number of years, 4 years, being incredibly ill, being lenient on the medical establishment for support. I did it their way, and I ate what I felt I needed, which, at the time, grass-fed, organic, blah, blah, blah. And then I tried this. I have no pain. None. I was on IV pain meds. So the fact that my body went into autophagy and did that work, which more is to come, and now I'm giving it pure fuel, all I can say, it's not a selling point. It's just a testimonial. It's miraculous what can happen. And in a short period of time, if you show the commitment to it. The commitment is actually not to the vegan way. People can be, whether or not they want a vegan card, whether or not it's the animals, whether or not it's sentient beings, whether or not it's nutrition, you have to be motivated by something within you, whatever it is. And for many, it can be a variety of things. But all I can say is I am no longer on any drugs. I am no longer on any assistance. I am happy. I am well. It is tough, because I'm getting crap out that I've accumulated through my own choices in the past. And that's all I can convey. If you've got any aches or pains or whatever, just consider it. It doesn't take that much, but it does take effort.
I can feel that I'm about to get kicked out, but real quick, a question. What is there something about me, and maybe you don't know the answer, what is it about meat that would cause pain?
Inflammation.
I mean, Patty is the perfect person to probably talk to this, but it's acidic. You want an alkaline level within your body, and you really want to make sure that things are supported. Patty, can you talk on a technical level with that? Not to put you on the spot or anybody else who wants it.
Well, I mean, animal product, like you could look at Colin Campbell and his research on casein and milk protein and the there's a plethora of research studies showing that meat protein, animal protein from the flesh of an animal is more likely to cause inflammatory states like cancer. And, look at atherosclerosis. That's more predominant in a high-fat diet. I mean, there's just so much that we can point to.
So the inflammation basically is what it comes back to, though.
Yeah, and speaking of parasites, parasites show up because we're feeding them and there's congestion. So when we eat foods that we're not biologically meant to be eating, it creates a lot of acidic byproducts that then become food source for these unnatural beings that do not live in a symbiotic relationship with our body. And
Mucoid plaque.
Mucoid plaque is another example. So when you're in balance with nature, when you're living in alignment with natural law, which I believe a natural diet is one that is predominantly plant-based, there's not going to be these imbalances to attract parasites and to attract these, like inflammation. One thing that puts inflammation out that our body does naturally is lipids and cholesterol. So think of our blood vessels. Our blood vessels become clogged with cholesterol-based plaquing or even calcified plaquing because inflammation is building up. And why is the inflammation there? Because irritants are flowing through our body. So when we absorb these nutrients that are unnatural to us, especially meat that has been cooked, denatured protein is so unnatural. You know, we when you cook it, it kind of creates these agglomerated molecules that we don't break down completely, and then they get absorbed. We get leaky gut syndrome, which is allowing these molecules to be absorbed into our bodily fluids. And then our immune system looks at these unnatural molecules, we start attacking them, and that increases the risk for autoimmune disorders. So all of these Western diseases are, I think, connected to a diet that's predominantly based on animal flesh.
Is
And
cooked
the
meat
Look,
more
cooked meats
unhealthy than raw?
cause butt cancer, bro. Like cooked meats, like
Mhm.
that straight up causes colon cancer. You want to die of colon cancer? That's not fun, bro.
So speaking of cancer, and I have a friend
Not
who
gonna
has
be
stage
fun.
4 cancer of the colon right now, and
Mhm.
trying to assist him in whatever choices. But this is the thing, it's free will. And no one's gonna like force you get to choose. That's the beauty of it. But what I will say, even in this specific detox, is the crap, pardon the pun, that comes out of your colon, that petrified. I mean, it's mine, and I am about to woof my cookies because it smells different, and it's been in there a long time. And my colon, TMI to the group, I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm really sorry, but once you get into this, it's astounding what we're carrying. And any effort to have like, oh, a fruit cup or whatever, it's kind of wasted because of what's absolutely like stuck, it's congealed, the mucus in the colon. You're doing, like, people are doing themselves a disservice by not having a clean water pipe system here going on. It will try for 30 days and just see, give yourself, or 2 weeks, and just see, like, but also include this thing called coffee enemas. They're like a pretty like I mean, oh my God. So anyways, TMI, you poor guy, the powder just you're a brave soul. Thank you.
Thank you for chiming in. You're a great ambassador for veganism, I suppose. Keep John Bob locked up. Thank you for allowing me to come in here and ask questions, even if you were fairly unpleasant, Jeffrey. Take it easy.
Bye.
Later, bro. Jeez.
Imagine intentionally giving yourself booty cancer and wanting somebody to cut on your butthole. Fucking meat eaters are the weirdest motherfuckers. And if they think it's weird that a vegan talks shit to them, how would they feel in a room with a child molester, dude? Like, of course they're